Yo, to my 2024 graduates, congratulations on reaching a significant milestone in your life. But yo, let's keep it real. Some of y'all, because I talk to you all the time, some of y'all not trying to be working on somebody's job for the next 20 to 40 years. Some of y'all not trying to be waiting every month on payday. And I know a whole lot of y'all not trying to work until 65 so you're eligible to retire. So herein lies the problem. What are you going to do differently to make sure that that doesn't happen to you? That internal yearning of your heart, you want to be financially independent so you can live life on your own terms. If you want to do that, though, you're going to have to start thinking differently about your work, about your time, and about your money. And that's what I want to talk to you about in this video. 7 money rules that every 2024 graduate needs to know if you want to position yourself to live financially independent, if you want to position yourself to buy back your time, work less, and make more money. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and we're going to go ahead and jump into these 7 money rules. So before I get into the money rules, let me tell you a quick story. This is going to be real quick. So when I graduated from grad school, so I went and got my undergrad in psychology, and I went back and got my master's in social work. After I can remember, after I got my master's degree, I told myself I'm only going to work 10 years. And by 10 years, I should be in a position where I'm financially independent enough that I should be able to walk away from my 9 to 5. That was the plan from the beginning. Well, what happened? 10 years came and went, and I was like so deep in the hole. I knew there was no way in the world that I was going to be able to leave my job at that particular point in time. And so I said, well, you know what? I'm going to give myself another 5 years. I cut it down this time. 5 years came, wasn't any closer. And so I said 5 more years. After the next 5 years, which is 20 years working, I started to get a little bit concerned because I realized that I wasn't getting any closer to walking away than I had been when I started 20 years earlier. So, what that made me realize was that I was not going to reach a place of financial independence just because I wanted to or because I was frustrated with my job. What is it that keeps people stuck on jobs that they don't want to be on for the majority of their lives? And the first thing that really became clear to me is that we were not programmed to become financially independent. We were programmed to work until retirement. And therein lies the first root issue that I need to address before we get into the first money rule. What would you say if I told you that your whole life has already been planned out for you and you're likely living that plan out right now, even as you're watching this video? So, what's the plan? Tell me if this sounds familiar. Um, Number one, go to school so you can get a good education. All right. So that's the first 12 to 16 to 18 years of your life, depending on whether you get an advanced degree or not. All right. That's phase number one. Phase number two, find a job that pays you well and has good benefits. And you're supposed to work on that job until you retire, which is about another 30 to 40 years. That's a pretty big chunk of time right there. All right. So you work on that job for 30 or 40 years until retirement, and then you retire when you are told that you're eligible to retire. So if you do the math, how many years of your life does that entail? 12 years of high school. If you go to college, 4 years, that's 16. If you get an advanced degree, that's 18 to 20 years. And then tack on 20 to 40 years of working. So guess what? That's about 40 to 60 years of your life. That's your whole life. And then you have that window of time after you retire that you can kind of do the things that you want to do if you have the money to. Well, guess what? That's what I call the default program of life. For the majority of people, you're on that default path, and the end of it has already been determined it's retirement. You get educated, get a job, and work until retirement. So now let me say this first. I'm not bashing or saying that it's a bad thing for you to be on this path. It works for a whole lot of people, but the problem is a lot of you didn't even have a say so in this path. So, like I said at the introduction of this video, it didn't occur to anyone whether you wanted to work on a job until you were able to retire. It didn't occur to anyone, they weren't considering, do you want to work on a job even if you can't stand it or if it's toxic? None of that was taken into consideration before this default plan was taken, and before this default plan was made. So the default path, if it's working for you, if it's in alignment with your goals, if it's in alignment with the type of life that you want to live, if you're making the money that you want to make, it's perfectly fine. But what I'm starting to realize is that a whole lot of people are getting frustrated and burnt out with this default path of life, because the root of it all is that they really want to be in control of their own lives. You really want to be in control of your life. So what sense does it make to be an employee of your own life? Think about that for a second. You are an employee where your life is concerned because somebody else or something else is calling the shots. So what my goal is, I want to help you transition from being on that path of being an employee of your life to being the boss of your life. And that's what the 7 money rules are all about. According to a survey, according to some statistics that I've read, it says 42% of workers are actively considering quitting their jobs right now. Another 20% reported that they had recently quit their job, meaning that nearly 2/3 or 62% of employed workers have recently quit or actively want to quit their jobs. Now, chances are there's a possibility that you might fall into that number. But if that's the case, you don't have to stay on that path. But here are the top 10 reasons workers specified for wanting to quit. Number one, poor work-life balance. That was 29%. Number two, lower unfair pay. That was 28%. Number three, toxic company culture. That was 27%. Number four, felt disrespected, undervalued. That was 26%. Number five was limited advancement opportunities. That was 25%. Number six was too stressful. I know a lot of us could relate to that, especially during COVID. Number seven, didn't allow enough remote work, 23%. Number eight, bad boss. Not gonna say nothing about that one. Number nine, company values and personal values were misaligned. That was 21%. And number 10, inflexible work hours. So these are all the things that you could very well encounter on this default path. All right, so now that we got that out the way, what do we do about it? Well, like I said, you're going to have to reprogram how you've been trained or programmed to think about your work, your time, and your money. And so let's talk about some different things that you're going to have to do, or different ways to think about your money if you want to position yourself to live your financially independent lifestyle. All right, money rule number one, set financial goals. Y'all, look, this one here is so important here. If you don't have any written financial goals written for your life, you basically just need to go into work tomorrow and tell your boss, hey man, go ahead and sign me up for the long-term plan, because I'm going to be here for a while because I don't have a plan to be anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? And I know that may sound a little extreme, but goals are the bridge from your present to your future. So guess what happened if you have no goal set? It's not that there isn't a bridge that you own, because there is a bridge. Don't get it twisted. The bridge is the default path. So that bridge to the future that they have designed for you is already set and you're in motion. So if you want to deviate from that in any way, shape, or form, you have to set financial goals. So here's some different areas where you need to set some goals. You need to set some goals for your income, and don't limit your income based off of what you're getting paid off your job. That's just one source of income. In this day of time, if you living off of one paycheck, man, you selling yourself short. So you have to have some income goals, and some of those goals or some of those streams have to be independent of your primary source of pay. Set some lifestyle goals. So what do you want your life to look like? So here again, the danger is you base your lifestyle off of your current pay. But what if you have a much bigger vision, a much bigger dreams or goals for your life that can't be fully financed by your current level of pay? Then that means that you're going to have to figure out, yes, you're going to have to use that intellectual creative tool of a brain that God gave you to figure out some other ways to generate the income needed to live your desired lifestyle or even expand your lifestyle. You need to set some goals around retirement. So don't just take it by default, like, oh, I have to work until I'm 65 or I have to put in 35 years. Set the goal. Don't worry about the how. Now, Jarod, why would you say not to worry about the how? Because think about it. The how for a goal is not needed until the goal has been set. Think about it like this. You have a GPS system in your car, okay? That GPS system is not going to kick in. There's no need for it until you set a destination for where you desire to go. You have to set the destination for your life. You have to set the destination for your finances, and that's what goals are. So same thing as with goals, the how to reach the goals is not needed until the goals have been set. I hope that's simple enough for you to get. Money rule number two. Money rule number two is become a lifelong learner of money and personal finance. You know, it's so amazing how we our whole life were told everything that we need to do to make money. So, get an education so you can get a job, so you can make some good paying, get a good paying job to make some money. So all of the emphasis was on making money or positioning ourselves to make money. But how come nobody told us, well, what do I do with this money when I make it? Like, what's the purpose for this money other than just paying bills and trying to survive? How do I manage this money? How do I make this money work for me? So you have to make up your mind that you're going to become a lifelong learner of money and personal finance. And so when I made this shift in my life, this was probably the thing that changed the trajectory of my life more than anything else. Because what happened to me, I left my job during COVID, just stressed out, burnt out. And so it took me about 2 months to kind of realize, like, something ain't kind of right here. This money ain't moving the way it needs to move. Like, dang, what have I been doing with my money for the last 20 years? Have you ever asked yourself, like, where has all of my money and time gone? So I came to this realization. I've been going through the motions for over 20 years of my professional life with little to show for it. And other than just saving and, not getting into too much debt, I had no clue of personal finance and budgeting and investing and compounding interest other than just put money aside to retirement. So I took a step back and I was like, whoa, I need to really redirect some of this attention. All of this time I've been studying all these other different things and spent all of my life getting educated in things that really don't have any relevance for me right now. I had to redirect all of my attention to, I'm going to learn everything about money, personal finance, and everything that I can. And that's what I've been doing for about the last 5 to 7 years. And that's why I'm here before you now. But the thing is, you can only operate based on the level of what you know. So guess what? If you didn't learn anything about money in school, about how to manage money, how to multiply your money, all of those different things, and you didn't learn about it from your parents, guess what? You're basically operating your whole life off of little to no understanding of money. And I say your whole life because money impacts every single area of your life. I remember a couple of, I was speaking at this conference and I did a session on finances and just different things to do to improve your financial health. And one of the things that we covered there was going back to really uncover your money story. Like, what type of things were you taught about money growing up? What type of conversations did you all have in your household? What type of context did you grow up in where money was concerned? And so one of the ladies in there, she said, when we were sharing out, she was just like, you know what? As I was talking to the people at my table, I realized that we never talked about money in my household. It was just something that we never talked about. It wasn't that it was necessarily hardships or anything, or it was a negative thing. We just never talked about money. And so what she realized is that she really didn't have a foundation to base her relationship with money off of, because it was just one of those things that they never talked about. So that's why I said you have to reestablish your relationship with money. That foundation may have not have been laid for you, and that's okay. If that's the case, we can't do anything with the past. We just need to understand it and use it to help us, inform us on what we need to do for the present to create a better future. So you need to learn all you can about budgeting, saving, investing, compound interest, all of those different things. I want you to commit to learning about those things. And so at the end of this video, make sure you stay to the end. If you're that person who's like, man, but Jarod, I don't know where to start at, and it's just so much information out there, I got you. I got you. I already thought about that, and I have some things to help you get started on your financial independence journey. All right. Money rule number 3 is work to achieve financial independence, not to retire. One of the biggest mistakes that I see people making, you base your working career on when you get to retirement. Nobody ever told you that there was another option. So here's why I'm saying work towards financial independence versus retirement. You can work all of your life to get to a place of retiring and still not have enough to live financially independent. In other words, and I've seen this in the lives of different people that I know, but they work their whole life. Just working hard, man, and get to a place to retirement and still really don't have enough money to either cover their basic needs or just to enjoy life. And so I remember I was at Walmart one time and I saw this really, really elderly person working there. And so I asked myself the question, it's like, man, I wonder if he's here because he wants to be here or because he has to be. And there's a big difference to that. I mean, you want to position yourself that you can live how you want to live in retirement and not live the way that you have to live because you don't have enough money coming in. So how do you position yourself for financial independence? Number one, you just have to set a goal that I'm not just here working to get in my 20 or 30 years. No, I'm working to become financially independent as soon as possible. So let's define, what do I mean when I say financially independent? When you have more money coming in from your investments and from dividends or from whatever you have your money invested in, you have more money coming in from the increase that you're getting from your returns than you do from your paycheck. So in other words, it's this crossover point where I'm making more now from my investments than I am from my paycheck. When you get to that point, then technically you have reached a place of financial independence because you no longer have to depend on your job or your primary source to earn income to provide for your basic needs. So I want you all to make a shift in your thinking wherever you are in your working career. Even if you've already been working for some time, I still want you to make it a goal to get to a place of achieving financial independence. Okay. Now, you're going to have to change your thinking where that's concerned, because the only thing that we've been told where work is concerned is work to get a paycheck and work to retire. That's pretty much it. So this is going to require a totally different way of thinking for you. Okay. So what you have to do is kind of calculate how much money do you need to live in retirement. And one way to do this is um, take your monthly expenses right now. So how much does it take for you to comfortably pay all your bills? So let's say that's, $10,000. So what you want to do is take that, multiply it by 12. Okay. And so that would be $120,000 annually to take care of all of your bills. Then you want to multiply that by 25. And whatever that number is, somebody get a calculator out and do that calculation for me. That's your financial freedom number. So that pretty much tells you how much money you should work towards in retirement. Now, here again, some of y'all might look at this number and be like, how in the world I'm going to get this type of money? Listen, don't worry about that yet. Remember what I told you about the goal. The how isn't important until you actually set the goal. Okay. So I hope you got that. Goal number 3, make financial independence your end goal and not retirement. Money rule number 4 is to create additional streams of income as soon as possible. Look, you have to figure this one out as soon as you can. Multiple streams or multiple dreams require multiple streams. Remember that. Multiple dreams require multiple streams. In other words, the bigger your dreams are, the more that you want to do, the more streams of income that you're going to need coming in to help finance that dream. So here again, the problem is we were taught as long as you get that one good paying job, and it could be a good paying job, you're going to be okay. But listen, as you continue to grow, as you continue to expand, as your interest starts to increase, and let's suppose as your life becomes a little bit more complex, you graduate from school and you're living on your own, and then you might get a new car, and then you may end up getting married, and then you may end up having kids, and then you may end up wanting to engage in more philanthropy or doing different things. That's going to increasingly require more income of you. So as soon as possible, I need you to figure out, what can I do to generate or create additional streams of income? And I'm going to tell you the answer. One simple thing that you need to do to generate more streams of income is simply this: solve a problem. That's what people pay money for. They pay money to solve problems. Case in point, I got tired being out in my yard for 3 hours on a Saturday doing yard work. I had a problem. I was tired. It took me about a day to recover, and it was just a drain on my time, my energy. So I was like, you know what? I need to just go ahead and hire somebody to do this lawn for me and be done with it. And you know what? I found someone, and the price that he quoted me, I was like, perfect. Here you go. It's all yours. Go ahead and get started. So that person solved the problem for me. And that guy is still doing my lawn to this very day. So all I'm saying to you is, you have a set of skills, you have a set of talents. How can you align those skills and talents with a problem that somebody has they're willing to pay you? It's really that simple. Don't overcomplicate it. We all have problems, and we spend money every day on things that help to either bring a level of pleasure or success, or help us avoid a level of pain and frustration. Okay. So here's another important point where multiple streams is concerned. Don't limit your lifestyle to fit within your means. Expand your means to accommodate your desired lifestyle. That's a bar right there. Let me say that one more time. Don't limit your lifestyle to live or to fit within your means. Expand your means to fit your desired lifestyle. So in other words, man, don't try to shrink your life down. And I did this for a long time. You try to shrink everything that you want to do down into that paycheck. And you may have to do that for a while. So I'm not telling you to go in and engage in hyper consumption and max out all your credit cards. There is a season that you have to do that. But that's why I said you need to figure out, how am I going to expand or increase my streams of income as soon as possible? So when I say increasing your streams, I'm not necessarily saying go out and get another 2 or 3 jobs. You have to figure out how to leverage your time where you can make more but work less. So I hope that makes sense. So I know that may seem like an oversimplification, But I'm telling you, if you want to get to a place of being the boss of your life and living financially independent, you have to generate multiple streams of income. Money rule number 5. Money rule number 5, start saving and investing yesterday. And the reason why I say that is because one thing I love about this, that is never too early and it's never too late. So someone may say like, well, I'm only 15 or whatever the case may be. Listen, I already have a few accounts aside for my son. It's never too early. So by the time he turns 18, I'm going to have all of his college expenses set aside. But you may say, but man, I'm already up in years. I'm already in, my 30s, 40s, or 50s. Listen, it's never too late. Get started today. Even though I said yesterday, I want to emphasize, go ahead and get started. And let me tell you why savings and investings are important. And they serve two very different purposes, but savings are important because they kind of help secure you. So savings, remember, the savings are for security. And so two types of savings account that you want to have. Number one, you definitely want to have what most people call your emergency fund. I don't like to call mine an emergency fund. I call it my stabilization fund. So whenever, in other words, when those unexpected experiences or unexpected things happen in life, I got my stabilization money. Like car breaks down or the air conditioner or something breaks down, we take money out of the stabilization fund, get us back stable again. So definitely you want that, because that's going to help secure your future and keep you from having to take care of those type of expenses on a credit card. And then you just want your basic savings account where you just putting money aside for whatever. So just so you have a cushion. A lot of times they like to say have at least 6 months to a year of living expenses. So just in case, you get laid off for a job, or you may need to actually leave a job for your own mental health or emotional well-being, you got your savings put aside to help make sure that the household continues to function. And that was one of the big mistakes that I made when I left my job. I really didn't have enough set aside in my savings. And so now I know that. So it's looking pretty plush right now. But you got to make sure you put money aside for your savings for security. So savings are for security, investments are for freedom and independence. So get that. That's really important. So saving is for security, investments are for freedom and independence. So I know a lot of people, they know about the savings account and they have their emergency fund, but they stop there. Like, you gotta have investments working for you, because you can only make so much money in the limited bit of time that you have. So investments gets your money working for you. So I need you to ask yourself this: are you working harder for your money than your money is working for you? And for a lot of you, the answer to that is yes. So what you're going to have to do is start learning how to use that money and make it go to work for you, and go out and have some money babies and bring them back home. Increase and multiply what you have coming in. So you may say, but Jarod, I don't know anything about investing. I don't know where to start at. I had a friend who asked me just yesterday, Jay, what do I need to invest in? And I gave her some tips, but one of the foundation things, and we'll talk about this in another money rule, is we already talked about this a little bit. You have to continually commit to learning about personal finance, money management, and investing. So I don't know what you like. You may like real estate. You may not. You may like stocks. You may like crypto. It depends on you, but you have to find an investment vehicle that you kind of like, and then you have to commit to learning as much about that as possible. So the most important point is that time is your most valuable yet limited asset. Let me say that again. The most important thing where investing is concerned is to realize that time is your most important yet limited resource. So the more time that you have, the more time that money is going to have to grow and increase and compound. So that's why I don't care where you are, start investing today. All right, we're moving right along. Money rule number 6 is you have to unhook your primary income vehicle from time. So what do I mean by that? Yeah, I remember the Dolly Parton used to have that song, "Working 9 to 5." Dun, 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 dun. See, I don't know all the words, but yeah, some of y'all probably don't even remember that song. But think about that. I'm working 9 to 5. So for most people, what that means is that the money that you make is going to occur during the hours of 9 to 5. So in other words, your income that you produce is going to be based off of that time slot of that time period. So if you don't have any, if you run out of time, then that means that if the only time that you can make money is from 9 to 5, that means that you're going to run out of time to make money. And so your time is limited, and that means that your income is going to be limited too. So that's why I said you have to unhook your primary income vehicle from time, because you have but so many hours in the day and you're going to eventually run out of time. So what you have to do is, how do I make money independent of time? And you might be like, what? How in the world did you do that? So I talked about it before. In essence, you have to figure out, how do I make money while I'm asleep? So it's a couple of ways that you can do that. So here again, let me say, if you want to be truly financially independent, you must figure out how to make more money using less time. So one way that you can do that is sell a product. So I have courses that I sell. Make sure that you watch to the end. I'll share some of those resources with you. But guess what? While I'm sleeping, those courses are selling, making money, and they're helping people. So it's unhooked my ability to earn income from time, because that course can sell 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Another thing that you can do is solve a problem, so you can offer a service. Now, here's the thing, that service may still be offered to time, but guess what? If you control the price that you charge for that service, that means you can determine how much money you make during that time. So let's suppose that I offer coaching and I charge, let's just say $1,000 for an hour. Well, or let's just say $1,000 for 4 hours. So I may get to a point where I want to increase my rates, and I might say, okay, now I'm going to charge 2,000 per 4 hours. Well, guess what? I just gave myself a raise and I doubled the amount of money that I made in the same period of time. So here's a very important point. Understand this: as long as you make money, as long as how you make money is tied to time, and someone else controls the time and the amount of money, you're always going to be stuck on that same predetermined level. Let me break that down so you understand. So here's the limiting part about your job, your 9 to 5. It controls the time in which you make money. So you come to work, let's just say from 8 to 4:30 or 5. So it controls your time for that block period of time. But guess what? They also control how much money you make during that time. So it doesn't matter how hard you work, how much you work, how little you work, you're going to get paid a set salary, or you're going to get paid an hourly wage for that period of time. So finally, money tip number 7 is that you have to buy back your time. And all of this is so important, because if you don't figure out how to do these things that I'm talking about, you're going to live a frustrated, unfulfilled life. And I run into people like this all the time. They're frustrated, they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. They're burnt out, they're stressed. And the reason why is because they don't have control over their money and their time. So they're forced to be in a toxic work environment. You remember the statistics that we read, the reasons why people consider leaving their job? Is because that they don't have the control that they desire. And so the reason why I'm sharing these money rules with you is because I want you to start thinking along these lines now. How am I going to position myself? How am I going to use my money to buy back my time and freedom? I wrote a book called Breaking Free of the Unfulfillment Trap. And one of the things that I talked about in there is like the root level of unfulfillment in the life of many people is simply a lack of control over your time or money. So, and it talks about the whole default pathway. So I don't have time to go into all of the details of it, but in it, I outlined some specific areas that you need to regain your control of. So, what I'm going to do for you all is I'm going to let you, since you're watching this video, I'm going to make it available to you for free. But go on my website at JarodAnderson.com and look for the unfulfillment, breaking free of the unfulfillment trap, and put the word fulfillment in all caps in there in the discount code, and you can download that book for free. But like I said, it talks about some specific things that you need to do in some specific areas that you need to regain control of. So money rule number 7 is buy back your time. So once you figure out how to solve the equation of generating additional streams of income, making more money in less time, you want to use that money to buy back your time. And so let's put everything together. So using your money, you're going to use your money. Remember, we talked about saving and investing to secure your financial future, and you want to use that money to begin to pursue and achieve financial independence. So you see how you have to change your thinking rather than just getting a job to pay the bills and saving some retirement. Now, with the goals that we've set, if you set those goals, you have some specific things to use your money for to secure your future and to position you to achieve financial independence through investing. And now we're going to add to that buying back your time. Those are the 3 big things that I want you to focus on doing with your money. All right. All right, there you have it. The 7 money rules every 2024 graduate should know. Tips to help you buy back your time, work less, and make more money. So, what are your next steps? So, I didn't give you all of that just to leave you hanging. So, this is what I want you to do next, because I already have some. I know some of you may be thinking, okay, that's good, but where do I start at? So, here's what I want you to do in 3 simple steps. Steps number 1, I want you to go to my website, JarodAnderson.com, and I want you to do 2 things. I want you to download the free book that I told you that I wrote for you, Breaking Free of the Unfulfillment Trap. Make sure you put the word fulfillment in all caps in the discount code bar, and it's going to give you that book absolutely free. That's number 1. Number 2, I want you to take this free masterclass that I created, and it's called the 7 Roadblocks to your financial independence. So I want you to kind of start to become aware of some of the things that you may be unknowingly doing that's kind of crippling you financially, or could potentially prevent you from getting to that place of financial freedom. Okay. So make sure you enroll in that course. It's a free masterclass. That's number 1. Number 2, after you finish that, I have another course that I want you to enroll in. It's called the 31 Irrefutable Laws of Financial Independence, and it's a beginner's guide to personal finance. So this is ideal for the person who's just getting started with your personal finance journey. And I also have a workbook. So the way that I set the course up, each day is going to be 31 days, okay? And you don't have to wait the whole 31 days, but I set it up to do 1 lesson a day. So there's no excuse. It shouldn't be overwhelming. 1 lesson a day, 1 action step a day. And then there's a companion workbook called the Roadmap to Financial Freedom. So as you go through the lessons, you're going to answer some specific questions and do some specific activities. And that's going to help you create a tailor-made roadmap for you to financial independence. So imagine wherever you are right now, in 31 days, you have all the ingredients, all the directions that you need to chart your course to financial independence. That's a pretty amazing thing right there, but you have to put in the work, okay? So that's number 2. I want you to take that course. And then finally, number 3, I want you to schedule a free financial health assessment. So if you have some, complicated scenarios that you may be dealing with in your finances, I want you to schedule a free financial health assessment with me. And we're just going to go through some simple questions and kind of figure out where you are, where you want to go. And then we're going to help you map out that path to financial independence. So Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have got some value out of it. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you share it with the other 2024 graduates, whether it's a high school graduate, college, master, PhD, it doesn't matter. We're going to move the needle forward for this generation, and it's going to start with you. Okay. All right. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.